Today, we dive into the wildest stories humanity ever told and figure out what might actually be hiding behind all that ancient mystery. Now, don't worry if you've never opened a Bible or think Genesis is just a band your dad likes. You're in the right place. We'll be talking about a story that has it all: angels, giants, worldwide chaos, and at the center of it all, one guy with a hammer. Not that guy. A lot of wood, and probably way too many animals to feed. Noah. But this isn't the bedtime story version with 2 giraffes and a rainbow at the end. Nope. This is the deep, mysterious, slightly chaotic version that ancient people swore was true. So grab a drink and get comfy. Alright, let's set the stage. Long, long ago, before smartphones, TikTok, or even sliced bread, the world was apparently booming with people. But here's where it gets wild. According to Genesis 6, some beings called the sons of God started checking out human women and thought, hey, they're kinda cute. And just like that, heaven and earth had a crossover episode nobody asked for. These unions supposedly gave birth to a race of hybrids called the Nephilim, often described as giants or mighty men of old. You know, the kind of dudes who could probably dunk without jumping. Now, the Bible doesn't give us a ton of details, but other ancient texts, like the Book of Enoch, really go off the rails with this. It says these fallen angels taught humans things like magic, weapon making, astrology. Basically, the first How to Be Chaotic masterclass. Before long, the earth became a mess. Violence, corruption, and possibly a bunch of super-sized humans wrecking everything. Imagine trying to live peacefully while your 15-foot neighbor keeps stealing your stuff. According to the story, the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every thought of the heart was only evil continually. Translation? Humanity was wildin'. So eventually, the Creator looked down and decided that His creations should come to an end. This time, all living things were about to go bye-bye. But there was one guy who wasn't caught up in the frenzy: Noah. Now, Noah wasn't described as perfect, but he did get this epic compliment. Noah was righteous in his generation. Basically, he wasn't like everybody, and maybe more importantly, he wasn't genetically mixed with angel DNA. Which, I mean, is a pretty good qualification for survival if you think about it. And no, Noah wasn't a racist. So God tells Noah, build an ark, big one, bring your family, 2 of every animal. I'm about to hit the reset button. And Noah, instead of questioning how this man-made cruise ship was going to float with elephants, crocodiles, and possibly dinosaurs on board, just said, all right then, now that's a strong faith, and also a bit of blind optimism. So there's Noah, out there hammering away at wood, with help from only his 3 sons. Yep, that's totally right. 4 people to build a boat for every pair of animal species existed at the time. Plus Noah's family, of course, while people are walking by like, hey Noah, you building a big house? Why don't you have those giants do it? Mocking him. Sounds familiar? It is the early evidence of bullying. But Noah was strong to continue with his faith in God. So kids, if someone's bullying you, remember, have faith, stay strong, and keep building your ark. For context, the Bible says Noah was 500 years old when he had his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and 600 when the flood began. So he spent a solid century working on a boat the size of a stadium. That's commitment. Well, of course, or he'll be dead. Now, imagine explaining to your wife that you're spending the next 100 years building a floating zoo because you had a dream. I don't know about you, but my wife would have hit me with that hammer. Then, the sky opened up, the Bible says. The fountains of the deep burst open and rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. So basically, the ultimate water park, with a lot of dead creatures after the ride. Everything, the Nephilim, the cities, the corruption, all of it got wiped out. Only Noah, his family, and the animals inside the ark survived. Now, if you imagine this like a calm Sunday cruise, forget it. Picture waves taller than skyscrapers, lightning ripping across the sky, and elephants panicking in first class. Noah probably had to deal with seasick penguins and grumpy lions for months. The Bible says the floodwaters covered the earth for 150 days. That's about 5 months of being stuck on a boat with your in-laws for his sons' wives. Truly a test of faith and patience. Eventually, the rain stopped, the waters started to settle, and the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Yep, of all places, they landed on the top of a mountain. So, Noah released a raven, but it doesn't come back. Probably found an all-you-can-eat buffet of floating corpses and said, "Yeah, I'm good here." Then Noah releases a dove. And when the dove came back with an olive branch, he knew it was time to open the world's first post-apocalyptic door. When they stepped out, everything was new. Quiet. I don't know about clean. The air probably smelled weird, but hey, at least they were still alive. Noah built an altar, gave thanks to God, and in return, God made a promise. God said, "Never again shall I destroy all life with a flood." And that's where the rainbow comes in. Not just a pretty sight, but a divine reminder of that covenant. So yeah, the next time you see a rainbow, you can think, ah yes, proof that humanity got a second chance after almost drowning the planet. But here's the million-dollar question. What about the Nephilim? If the flood wiped everything out, how come we hear about giants again later in the Bible, like the Anakim or even Goliath? Well, there are theories. Some say a few of the Nephilim bloodlines somehow survived, maybe through Noah's sons' wives. Others think Nephilim just became a term for any group of scary giant warriors. And of course, the Book of Enoch drops this spicy take, that when the Nephilim died, their spirits stayed on earth as restless entities haunting humanity. Basically, the ancient explanation for ghosts and demons. Creepy, right? So even though the bodies were gone, the influence of the Nephilim might have still lingered, a kind of spiritual corruption that stayed behind. But what's really fascinating about this story, beyond the flood, the animals, or even the giants, is what it says about human nature. From the very beginning, from the creation of the first humans all the way to every new generation, we somehow always manage to mess things up, big time. The story is not about punishment, it's about a new beginning, a reset button on humanity, because apparently people had gone way too far. Come to think of it, what would the world be if another great flood happened in the time of this guy, or even this guy? Good thing, God promised to never again shall he destroy all life with a flood. The story of Noah is about hope, obedience, and second chances. It's about having faith in God. It's about standing for something good when everyone else is doing whatever feels good. So if people around you are doing messed up things, don't join in. Just remember the story of Noah and keep your faith strong. In the end, God rewards those who stay true. And whether you take the story literally or symbolically, that message still hits today. Because let's be honest, the world can still get a little Nephilim-level chaotic sometimes. Maybe not 40 days of rain chaotic, but scroll through social media for 5 minutes and tell me we're not due for a minor reboot. So, what do you think? Were the Nephilim real? Was the flood global or local? And did Noah really fit 2 of every animal on that ark, including mosquitoes, which frankly could have stayed behind? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear your theories. And one more thing, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You've got nothing to lose. Thanks for watching, and remember, whether you're building an ark or just trying to stay afloat in life, keep your faith, your humor, and maybe a good umbrella.